There, card folk. Speed Robo here, and it's been a long time since you've seen a video with my hands in it. And I'm excited to do another one. And what we're doing today is going to be a really fun video. I've actually had this for a while, and I've been wanting to do the video for a long time. We're going to be opening up and taking a look at the Xena Warrior Princess trading card game. So I've got a fully sealed, fresh in the package starter deck. And it is the Heroes and Valor deck. This game was actually done by Wizards of the Coast, and it's got this Arc System logo right here, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think the Arc System is the game system that this card game uses, because I've heard that the Xena Warrior Princess game is compatible with Hercules. So I think that this is kind of like a Versus system or Weiss Schwarz type of deal with Arc System. We'll have to jump in and see. And this is from 1998, so it's pretty old, and I've never seen the show. Fun fact, never seen the show. I just managed to get my hands on these cards, and I'm like, this is a trading card game I've never seen before, heard anything about, and I'm really, really excited to dig into this and to see what we've got going on in here. So Heroes and Valor, you command the best, you command the game. Heroes and Valor offers you skilled warriors and the means to eliminate your opponent's defenses. This deck contains 40 tradable game cards and a rulebook. Each player must have a deck to play. A game of strategy and excitement, easy to learn and quick to play. Look for all 6 Xena Warrior Princess theme decks and play every strategy. Collect all 180 cards. If I had to guess, this actually doesn't have a set group of cards in it. I think it's more like the original Magic decks. It had some set cards and then some random cards, and I think that's the situation here. So I'm excited to just see what we've got. Without further ado, let's pull this tab and let's get on in here. If I can find where the tab is. So I think it's supposed to be, I think this is it. I think this is the tab. Oh, yeah, there it is. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Pops right off there. The box itself, pretty plain, pretty basic, but that's not necessarily a problem. Alright, let's get that new card smell. Yeah, that smells like a Wizards of the Coast print job right there. Yep, yeah, that's definitely from Wizards. Okay. Take a look at the card back. Oh! Oh, that's interesting. You don't see this very often. This is one of those card backs that works top or bottom. It's a symmetrical card back. This was popularized in tarot because your tarot cards were supposed to be able to be played face up or face down, and you weren't supposed to know which one. Yeah! Oh, man, I haven't seen one of these on a trading card game. Oh, I'm trying to think of the last one I saw that was like this. Oh, this is fantastic. You rarely see these. The card borders themselves are not too interesting, and I mean they get the job done, as you can see. As you can see here, definitely get the job done. Different colors. I'm not sure what the different colors mean, considering we have different colored actions. I'm assuming that's something like what Magic the Gathering has going on. I feel like that's a safe bet, considering it was made by Wizards, and I don't really have too much imagination. Action, card name, what it does. I'm assuming the actions are like spell cards. If all your characters in play fearsome this turn, no character with 3 power or less can block this one. It's my round killing thing, and that's the quote. Let's see here. The card build itself is pretty good. Honestly, no real complaints on it. Thickness is good. Print quality is good. It's not super glossy or well laminated. It's a little papery to the feel, but I don't dislike that, honestly. Like these are good. The quality I have no complaints about. I do think it's interesting that this is a 40 card deck game rather than a 60 card deck. considering that it is a Wizards game. And then we've got our characters here. It's a green character. Another action, combat, action, resource. Okay, so these I would assume are simply just your lands, like in Magic. Left 4 Dead, Grand Bazaar resource, red resource. Amazon Village, green resource. Captured, Treasure Trove, red resource. Peasant Village, green resource. I don't know if the names of the cards particularly matter. Merchant Port, Eastern Village, Castle, another red resource. And these do seem to be fairly random. Bathhouse, Peasant Village, Celtic Warrior, Merchant Port, Wall Guards, Eastern Village. I think this is a relatively random deck where only the colors are set, where this is the green-red deck. Bathhouse again, another Greek Forest, another Grand Bazaar, and another Greek Fighter. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any particular pattern or order to the cards. I'm gonna see if I can find some kind of rarity on these. Doesn't appear to be. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate rarity outright. There might be a card list in here that says what the rarity is. Yeah, I don't see anything that says rarity. But I do like the card back, honestly. You don't see card backs. They just don't make card backs like this anymore. And I really like I'm a sucker for simple card backs. Honestly, my favorite card back of all time, Yu-Gi-Oh! I just hate that they have the Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh! Logo at the top and bottom. If they just didn't have that, it'd be like perfect card back. I like symmetrical card backs like this. I think they look cool. I think they look clean. I like this sort of style a lot, and I don't feel like the logos super detract from it either in this one. This is a contender for one of my favorite card borders of all time. I know that it's really basic, but man, I just like it. Just like it. So let's see what we have on rules. Xena Warrior Princess, an Arc System game. Okay, alright. If Xena Warrior Princess is your first trading card game, welcome aboard! You've picked a great game to start with. Arc System games are designed to get you playing quickly, even if you've never played a TCG before. If you've already tried other trading card games like Magic the Gathering, you'll learn to play Xena even faster. What you need to play. All you need is a deck of cards and a deck of cards for your opponent. Okay, well, got that. That's good. That's a good start. World of Xena, in a time of ancient gods, savage warlords, and mystic kings, and a land in turmoil cried out. In the Xena Warrior Princess trading card game, you'll assume the role of a powerful warrior king or queen, battling with other monarchs for control of these ancient lands. Command characters and use amazing actions to outwit your opponent. Use this deck to challenge a friend, and battle on. Object of the game, run your opponent's deck out of cards. You win if your opponent's deck has no cards. You start the game with a deck of cards that represents the armies fighting for you. Your goal? To conquer your opponent's armies by discarding cards from his or her deck until every card is gone. Most of the time you'll do this by attacking your opponents with characters. Terms that are in red in rules appear in the glossary. Okay, so this is a Your Deck is Life system game, which a lot of people give those games flack. I don't think they're outright bad. I genuinely don't. I think that there's a lot of instances where if you do it right, it can be done really well. And so I'm excited to see what this game does to make it more interesting. And I also like the flavor of, like, your deck's your army. So when you deal damage to the opponent's army, you're removing, what they can do in reserves. You're reducing their morale. It's very Cardfight Vanguard-esque, and I kind of like that flavor, honestly. Game setup. Put your deck on the table. You'll have your deck in front of you. Make sure you leave room for your discard pile. During the course of the game, you'll put other cards on the table. All cards on the table, other than those in someone's deck or discard pile, are referred to as being in play. make sure you leave yourself room to put the cards in play. So we've got the setup right there, and it's like deck, discard pile, room for your characters, room for your resources. So it's just, that's really simple, and I kind of dig that, actually. I like simple boards like that, where it's just like, hey, just kind of do that. That's nice. We're honestly already off to a good start here. The cards you have in play and your discard pile should be face up all the time. Cool. Types of cards. There are 4 types of cards in this game. Search your deck for an example of each type of card before you continue. Resource, action, character, and combat. I think I have a grand total of 1 combat card in this deck I got. I literally think there was 1. Literally just 1, isn't there? Yeah, there's a grand total of 1 copy of a single combat card in this whole deck. Well, let's hope they aren't important. Anyway, there we go. There's a glare, and there's a glare right there, and I'm too lazy to do anything about it, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Resources don't do anything on their own. Ah, shit. Once you put them into play, though, they act like bank accounts to store money that you use to pay for your other cards. Huh. Okay. Maybe it's not just a carbon copy of Magic's shitty land system that's bad. Yeah, Magic's land system's bad. Don't at me. If you want me to talk about what makes Magic's land system so bad, go watch my Exploring Card Game Design video on the topic. Mistakes in Magic the Gathering is what the video is called, and I go into great detail of what makes the land system in Magic just the worst thing in trading card games pretty much ever, in my opinion. Which, again, that's just my opinion, so, you're welcome to your own, but anyway, maybe these don't suck. We'll have to see. Characters are your main tools. You put them into play and you use them to attack your opponent's deck. Every character has a power that indicates its strength. I'm assuming that. I would assume that's the power. Power will be important later on. So there's no power or toughness. There's just power. Okay, again, I kind of like that. My 2 favorite stat systems in games are single stat and triple stat, where single stat is your 1 number rules how good that character is. It's its attack, its defense, it's how much damage it deals, it's whatever, right? Triple stat I like because it gives the designers more flexibility in how they can balance out vanilla cards and makes vanillas more interesting. Great example of two great examples of triple stat games, Future Card Buddy Fight and Card Battle Spirit Link. Big fan of triple stat games, also big fan of single stat games like Duel Masters. Key example of a single stat game. Actions are one-shot cards that do something once, then are discarded. Yep, those are our spells. Combat cards are like action cards, but they're played as a surprise when either player attacks. Yes! Okay, they didn't screw up entirely. Because another thing that I hate about Magic the Gathering is that you can do basically anything at any time, and turns are mere suggestions. Oh, but speed, there's sorceries, and you can only play this during your main phase. You just shut up. Most card effects can be played whenever, and instants are cancer. So, the fact that they're like, look, you can only cast your counter spells during battles. Not when your opponent's just taking their main phase and trying to play the game. No. Only during battles. That is a huge bonus. That is exactly what you need to do if you're going to build in player interaction. You need to make it so that the turn player still gets to play their turn, doesn't get completely screwed by the guy playing control. Looking at you, Magic. Honestly, we're off to a great start with this game. This is really good. Most of your cards are either characters and resources, since it's tough to win without characters, and you can't put characters into play without resources. I swear resources just don't be land, and I'm going to be happy. Resources and characters don't do anything until you put them in play on the table. Once a resource or character is in play, you can use it over and over again. How do you put a card in play? This is where resources will come in handy. Tapping your resources and characters, please don't be land. Resources and characters can only be used once each turn, and you'll show you're using them by tapping them. Tap your resources in order to pay for other cards. When you use a card, you show it. You show that it can't be used again until next turn by turning it sideways. This is called tapping. Okay. When your next turn starts, you show that you can use your resources and characters again by turning them upright, untapping them. Paying for cards. Characters' actions in combat have a cost that you have to pay before you can do anything with them. The better a card is, the more it will cost. To pay for a card, simply do the following. Find the card's cost. The cost number is upper left-handed in the corner. Right there. That's its cost. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. Good. Good. We got that. Before you can do anything, the better card is to pay for a cost, simply do the following. Find the card's cost. Got it. Pay the card's cost by tapping, turning sideways, that number of resources you own and play. Damn it. The just land. We were doing so well. We were doing so well. And then we just had to go and use a Magic the Gathering land system. Honestly, for a 1998 game, this game gets enough right that I'll give it a pass for using a terrible resource system. So, I mean, considering how early on this game was, and I'm going through and I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I can put up with this. Cards come in 3 colors, red, green, or blue. When you tap your resources to pay for a card, at least one of these resources has to match the color of the card you're paying for. The rest can be any color. It's Kaijudo! Kind of, almost. Almost. If only they were like, any card can be played as a resource, we would have a Kaijudo resource system and it would have been amazing. But no, we're stuck with shitty cards that don't do anything. Damn it. The rest can be of any color. For example, you may play a green card that costs 4 by using 1 green, 3 red. Yawning. If you paid for an action or combat card, follow the instructions on the rules text, then discard it. If you paid for a character card, put it face up on the table in front of you. You pay this card's cost only once when you put it into play. Sometimes you simply won't have resources in play that match the colors of the cards in your hand. When that happens, you'll have to wait until you draw the right resources to play those cards. That sucks. Now my alarm's going off. It's fine, though. Starting the game. Before the game begins, you and your opponent need to decide who goes first. The 2 of you just played a game. The loser gets to go first. Hey, that's a cool little stipulation. Otherwise, decide randomly. Flip a coin, play rock, paper, scissors, or whatever works for you. Now you're ready to play. Shuffle your deck. Place it face down in front of you. Draw a starting hand of 7 cards. If your starting hand has fewer than 2 resources, you won't be able to do much, so shuffle your hand back into your deck. Draw a new hand of 7 cards. Okay, that's pretty cool. I kind of like that. The only thing you should have on the table at this point is your deck. Playing the game. As you play, you and your opponent take turns. During your opponent's turn, you don't do anything unless your deck is attacked. During your turn, go through the steps below in order. If you can't do anything during a step, that's okay. Just go on to the next one. Untap your characters and resources. Draw a card. Put 1 resource into play. Play actions and or put characters into play. Attack with your characters. Your turn is over. Your opponent's turn begins. Not playing yet. You're ready to start now. Let's take a look a little closer into the steps of the turn. Untap, draw. Yep. Put a resource into play. Yep. Play actions. Yep. Got it. Very simple. Yep. Just basic main phase stuff. Attack. You have a character in play, read how to attack. You don't have a character in play, go on to the next step. So there's no summoning sickness. That's cool. Your turn's over. Okay. How to attack. Attacking your opponent is as easy as A, B, C, D, E. Attack. Block, combat, discard, end combat. That's nice. A, B, C, D. Cool. I like that. Alright, attack. Choose your attacking character. Turn it sideways. Characters that were already tapped can attack. Block. Your opponent chooses his or her blocking characters. You can use anything to block, just like Magic the Gathering. Got it. Easy peasy. Combat. first your opponent and then you can each play a combat card. Your opponent chooses whether or not to play a combat card. Then you choose whether or not to play a combat card. That's awesome! This is exactly how you're supposed to do counters in games. This is it. This is how you're supposed to do it. I love this. Discard. Figure out what happens. The exact results depend on which of your opponent's characters are blocked by your opponent's characters. A character that isn't blocked discards cards from the opponent's deck equal to its power. Easy. A character that is blocked checks its power against the character blocking it. A character with smaller power is discarded, and if both characters have the same power, discard both of them. Just Duel Masters rules. End combat. Now it's your opponent's turn. That's it. That's the whole game. I freaking love it. This is awesome. Fantastic. Honestly, the only thing that this does wrong, straight up, the only thing that this does wrong is it doesn't seem to have a bounce back mechanic for the life deck issue. So the problem with life deck games is that if you don't have some kind of bounce back mechanic or some kind of consistent way to use cards in the graveyard, or like Bakugan's flip cards is a good example, then, you know, it's a little less fun because it's like, oh, my cards get left and I don't get to play them now, and if that was like my favorite card, oh no, I don't get to play it, oh, that feels bad. And the second thing it does wrong is the Magic the Gathering resource system. Everything else legitimately looks super amazing, and I don't know, maybe I'll try and find a second deck of this and find a way to play it, because this looks pretty good. Now we have this big glossary sheet. So you just bought your first starter deck. Oh, deck building. Okay. Few basic deck building rules. Deck can't have more than 40 copies in it. Can't have more than 4 copies of a card, except resources. You can play decks that are larger or smaller than 40, as long as both players agree to the new deck size. Right, so basically we're locked in at 40. Oh, no. The starter decks do actually have set amounts of stuff. Never mind, the starter decks are actually set. Incorrect from me. Neat. And then they have a collection list. That's pretty cool. And then a glossary. Additional rules. Okay. Yeah. Well, I like it. Game's cool. It's honestly, this game's really seems really good. Yeah, and it doesn't say if it is. Oh wait, Arc System Games. Arc System Games are a new concept in trading card games. Imagine a series of all games based on your favorite worlds and characters. Now imagine those games can be played together. This is what I was talking about earlier. Arc System takes characters from popular and original worlds and places them in a fully compatible game system. If you learn how to play one Arc System game, you can quickly learn the others and teach your friends. Xena Warrior Princess is the second game in the Arc System. Look for C32, the first Arc System game, already available. And look for Hercules, the Legendary Journeys, available in July 1998. That is really cool. I am willing to say, I'm not certain for sure, but I think this is the first unified game system concept. I think this is the first like versus system Weiss Schwarz concept I've ever heard of. This is very early. 1998 is very early, only 5 years after Magic's launch. So I think this is the first multi-compatible, multi-world crossover game. That is really cool. And, you know, it's a life decking game, probably one of the first life decking games. I think it's the earliest life decking game that I'm familiar with. Yeah, honestly, this game looks fucking solid. I'd love to play it at some point, and if I do, I'll make sure to make a video on it. But before we go today, I do have one last cool thing to bust out. That is, I have in my hands a single sealed booster pack for the game. I don't know how many sets this is. Seems to be the first set. Xena Warrior Princess Booster Pack, 12 tradable game cards. Each player must have a deck to play. A game of strategy and excitement, easy to learn, easy to play. Collect all 180 cards. Wizards of the Coast. Arc System. Gonna crack that. Oh, yeah. Published by Wizards of the Coast. Look at that. Look at that right there. You don't see Arc System anymore, I tell you what. That's just not a thing that happens. Well, in we go. Totally new booster pack. Oh. That is the stuff there. Oh. Oh yeah, it's got that new card smell, dude. Oh, that's good. All right, let's see what we got. We got an Altar of Ares, blue resource. Chin Mercenary. Gate Guard. This guy's a blocker, so that means he can't attack, but he's a chunky boy. 3 for 1. All right. Greek Fighter, 2 for 1 vanilla. Ares Soldiers, 5 for 3. Cabby's Little Stick. Each of your that's a combat card. Green combat card. That's good for me. I like that. Burn to the ground. She's one of your opponent's resources in play and discard it. That's brutal. Major Jealousy Rage. Combat. Extortionist. Character. Protege of Ares. Aid from Gabriel. And Possession. That's really cool. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this epic adventure of sword and sorcery, or whatever this show's about. I honestly don't know. Yeah. Hey, I've been Speed Robo, and I'll see you next time.